Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Napoleon. This daily started out super well, but it turned out super bad very fast, and I'm actually wondering why that is. Was it maybe just because we didn't get any good items later on and we didn't scale into the late game, or was it just something that I did and maybe I made some mistakes along the way? And I'm here to answer those questions, or at least try to analyze my play. This has been like the third or maybe the fourth daily in a row where I haven't been really performing well. I would say in the some of the dailies was just more to me being unlucky in just not finding the right items to actually go to the late game and finding pets to go beyond mom. But in this case, because this run goes to the chest, that means that we really don't have anything to kind of fall back onto. It's just bad play or maybe just getting bad items. As you can see, our first start or our first few items are just amazing. We got a quarter in the item room, and the quarter in the item room combined with the Steam sale from the shop along with 21 cents that we had is just an amazing combination, because that essentially means we can afford at least 3 items in the shops. With a reroll machine here, we can essentially just keep rerolling it until eventually we're gonna get a good item or two. In this case, I decided to stop at the jar, and I think that was kind of a mistake. The jar is okay because it does allow you to break the game somewhat, and it does allow you to get a lot of Shrek bonus, so from a points perspective, it's probably a very good item, probably one of the best that you can find, because it single-handedly allows you to break the game. But maybe we should have really gone deeper there. Maybe we should have kept re-rolling. I was kind of running low on bombs, so that was also my decision to stop there, but I could have probably mustered one more reroll out of that. But essentially, just because I stuck with the jar, I think that's probably a mistake. But of course, there's really no way of knowing that this run would turn badly, because beyond just the quarter in the Steam sale, we also got Purity and Steven. Steven is just a damage up that's pretty great to get on the first floor, and Purity is one of the best DPS items if you can kind of force blue or the red aura. In some situations, I would say the red aura is better, but in majority of the situations, I would say blue aura is better, just because I think it gives you more DPS. One thing that was kind of unfortunate with this run is that our that our shot speed was really high, not high shot speed. That our shot speed was really high, so kind of combine that with shooting really fast is actually pretty annoying, because you displace enemies and you knock them back, and because of that, they actually become much harder to actually aim at and just kind of be consistent. So in this case, maybe damage up or maybe the red aura was just a bit more effective than blue aura, but overall I would still say getting one of the other is a really good bonus stat on its own. So what went wrong? You know, we also got the Mark, that was also a pretty decent item. We got the satchel, the fanny pack, that one is okay if you can kind of combine it with the other items, but I would definitely say that the point at which things went terribly is when I picked up Chaos. And why did I decide to pick up Chaos? Well, my thinking was, my run is pretty decent, I have a lot of good items, and I reckon that I can get to mom with these items without too much of a worry, without too much of a struggle. Sure, I was running low on time, but I figured, you know, if I get a blue or maybe a red aura, I was gonna have enough DPS to actually just go through the rooms and do them really fast and kind of get my objectives in time. Sadly, that wasn't really true. I kind of overestimated my damage. I think the majority of that part is just due to Purity. You really don't realize how much Purity actually adds to your DPS until you lose that particular stat effect. And of course, I was trying to kind of force it into getting that particular effect, maybe the blue or the red aura, by going to the sacrifice rooms or by maybe donating to the blood banks. But even when I forced it, what happened was, because of our high shot speed and because our natural high tier rate, I was knocking enemies back, and it was actually quite hard not getting hit in that situation. So that was kind of unfortunate in the sense that maybe the combination of items or maybe just the stat upgrades that we got by using a Void and the Black Rune were a bit unfortunate in the fact that we got a lot of high shot speed, and I'm really bad with high shot speed. For some reason, I just can't play with it. I can't estimate the range well enough, I can't estimate the velocity of the tier, and also can't really estimate the knockback of the enemies. And what ends up happening more often than not is I shoot the enemies and then I walk right into them, because I'm a dummy in that sense. But when I picked up Chaos, things went really terribly. And again, the huge shining factor that I always point out with Chaos is that it gives you too many bomb items. You can see when I picked up Chaos, from that point forward, we found 5 out of 6 bomb items, and including one of the items that I didn't pick up, which was Mr. Boom. And that just makes Chaos, like I said, again, unusable for me. I really thought that in this particular case, you know, just because my run is strong enough, I might get Chaos, and because of Chaos, I might enter the boss rush, and there would be maybe 4 items, and at least one of those 4 items could be maybe a Devil Deal item, maybe an Angel Room item, and I thought because I had so much money, maybe it's a good idea in this sense, because I think Chaos really becomes good when you can actually buy items from the shop, and especially combined with the reroll stock machines that we have in Afterbirth Plus, because you can essentially just keep rerolling the items as long as you have the bombs, and I did have a lot of bombs in that case. I could just keep rerolling until eventually I would get a really good offensive item, maybe an Angel Room item, maybe a Devil Deal item, and then I would pick that up and that would kind of carry my run. Sadly, nothing like that happened. I think the idea was good. I think that this was definitely one of the most appropriate times to take Chaos, but kind of combined with the fact that maybe we didn't really have those reroll machines, or maybe the fact that I picked it up kind of late, and also the fact that one of the shops was greed, kind of undermined my whole operation, and I just end up being stuck with a lot of bomb items, which didn't really do much for me. I'm really interested as to know which were the other items if you didn't pick up Chaos. So if you played this daily run, please let me know, because I'm really interested. I just want to know the comparison. I know a lot of people pick up Chaos, and then whenever you read the threads or the discussions, you end up in the situation, because I usually don't pick up Chaos, is people have vastly different runs just because of it. And I really feel like in daily runs, this should be limited. I think the biggest contributor to kind of unfair dailies, not unfair dailies, but just I would say inconsistent dailies, are the shop restocks, or just restocks in general. I definitely feel like restock machines shouldn't be allowed in dailies. Like donation machines, I don't see a reason why they would exist. I think that it just promotes a lot of not unfair, but just a lot of, like I said, inconsistent variants that is probably not something that we all long for. I like the reroll machines, because you can only reroll machines as soon as you pick up an item, that's it. Imagine if the reroll machine kept giving you more items when you actually rolled it. So at that point, breaking the game becomes even more important, because that means essentially if you have unlimited coins, or at least if you have a lot of coins, you're just gonna get a lot more chances of finding certain items. And everybody knows that finding a lot of coins can be as lucky just as going to the right room at the right time, maybe finding a nickel there, and then maybe that nickel can be the difference between getting a really good DPS upgrade or not, at least in this case, because we had Chaos. So I think definitely that restock machines shouldn't be allowed in dailies. It's definitely one of the additions that I'm not a big fan of, but at the same time, we have to learn how to work with it, with the game as it is now, if you want to really become successful at it. My general plan is just to use as many bombs as possible on that particular rooms, just because I think there's no reason not to, because essentially that means every time you use a bomb, you're essentially visiting another shop. And if I had the chance of essentially using a bomb, of visiting a shop, I would always do it, because at this point in time, if you use a key, you get to a shop, you're limited to maybe one shop a floor. And even then, it always has a chance of just being a bad shop, or it always has a chance of maybe containing greed in it. But with restock machines, you can essentially trade one bomb away to get a completely different shop with completely different items. And I think that's just a bit too powerful in this case. I don't mind it in single player game, because I think the single player game is obviously single player, and I don't think the balance should be as important there. I definitely feel like sometimes they go a bit overboard with nerfs. I agree that they should nerf items that are like maybe like 2 item combos that just completely break the game. But with certain things, I definitely do feel like they go just a bit overboard in some situations. But nevertheless, I do feel like restock machines don't have their place in dailies, just because of how inconsistent they are. And I know that someone mentioned that they found a blank card, and I don't know where they got the blank card. What might happen is if you roll the shop 5 times, maybe then the next shop contains the blank card, or maybe if you roll it one more time, I would have gotten a blank card. Obviously, I didn't, and that turned out in a very poor position for me. But nevertheless, I still feel like at least I played well. I guess that's always my solace in these dailies, that even if they go badly, at least I feel like I played well. Obviously, I missed Hush, and the main reason was I thought I could do boss rush. I thought I was stronger than I actually was, but of course that was just the purity effect on me. I thought I was much stronger until I lost the aura, and then I realized that my DPS is actually quite bad. I think this is one of the highest damage penalties I've had in a long time, and 7,000 is nothing to joke around for. I definitely did lose my cool in the middle a few times there, just because of how tedious the run was, and my Shrek bonus wasn't as high as could have been with a jar. I also didn't feel like breaking for like 15 minutes. I only did it for like 7 minutes at the end, and I did get like 2,000 points, which is not too much, but at the same time, it's enough to kind of propel me just a bit higher. And of course, all of that is reflected in my end ranking, which is about 400. Which is obviously not very good. I mean, it's still like top 5%, maybe top 10% or something like that, so it's not bad by any means, but it's not something that I could generally go for usually. I definitely do miss the days where I ranked in like the top 50s. I know it was like 4 days ago, but still, I do feel like I need to get back to the groove of the dailies to actually start being successful again. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.